Okay, and I'm not sure if this is what you really ask for, because there is also another option for boundaries in hatching, and this is can be found here. When you click on hatch, don't click on hatch. You just click on the arrow, the small arrow here, and um, you have some options to choose from. And this is another one. It's called boundary. I'm not sure. Maybe this is your question, but I'm going to tell you quickly about this one. So let's say, for example, I have doesn't matter rectangle or circle or whatever. But let's take this shape, for example. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna draw some rectangles like that. Okay, so let's say I have this shape and I wanted to do boundaries, the option of boundary, sorry. So it says to pick up a point. I'm gonna pick up a point and make it a polyline. You have an option of polyline or region, but I will choose polyline and I'll click OK. Then when I press on that region here, so here, if you see, it highlighted this part. So I press enter, and now I created a polyline with the boundaries that look like, that has this shape. So this is the shape that I got. So now if I, for example, I want to delete that, and then this is the shape that I have. So this is also a polyline. I can take it out. So this is the final shape that I got. So this is the useful part of using boundaries, to choose the shape that you want depending on your drawing. So I hope this is clear. And I remember also you asked something related to user defined, the difference between user defined and user defined function or predefined, or user defined object or predefined objects. Um, what what I can do to explain this is, well, let's say, for example, I have this rectangle and I want to hatch this part. Oops, sorry, I have to click on hatch. Okay, so the user define means that, let's say, user defined, let's say I'm gonna take this shape, this shape. Now this is, for example, it's just a quick example that this shape is basically a user. This is basically a predefined shape. Why it's predefined? Because it's included inside the software. The patterns look like this. It's ready to use just by clicking it on your drawing. You don't need to change. You don't need to do any changes for, let's say, for those blocks. So let's say, for example, now I don't like those blocks to be this way. I wanted to change it to create a slope, so that maybe my drawing needs those blocks to be in a slope. And in order to change this, then this is what I call it user defined, because you're going to do the changes to something that is already exists in the software, but it's not exactly what you want. You want to change the pattern, or you want to change the shape. So if I want to change the angle of that, let's say, of this hatch, if I press on it and I want to change the angle, then it will change to the angle as you see. So let's say I wanted this shape to be always the same, and I always wanted to use it this way. Then this is what it's called user defined, because you are the one who change it. And user is more like, it means like, it's the person who controls the changes, who can make the changes. And another example I can give is when, for example, want to create a block. If I go to, if I go to blocks to insert a block, for example, these blocks here, this one and this one, they were already there. And these blocks are already called predefined blocks. But when you create your own block, let's say the one that's, remember, we created a dynamic A door. And this dynamic A door, you can fix it. You can change the dimensions whenever you want. Let's say to fit the the size of the washroom or the size of a living room. So this is called a dynamic block, and it's user defined because we did some changes into this one. While the one that is here, the A door here, this is called a predefined one because we haven't changed anything, and it would always be the same shape. And even if we put it on the drawing, it will always be the same shape. We cannot make it smaller unless if you use, of course, the scale command. But for this one, we can do any changes to it. Like we can make it small, big. So that's pretty much the difference between what is user defined and predefined. I remember you also asked a question related to hatches, and it's something to do with the origin set. So if we have a rectangle like that, and I wanted to hatch this rectangle, let's say I'm going to choose this pattern, the block pattern. So I remember you asked what is the set origin does in general. So this is what it does. If let's say I want my, if I click on it and I look here at this corner, I see that there is a complete block. It starts from here. A complete block starts from the left corner. What if I want to change that pattern? I don't want, let's say I don't want this, the second row here. I don't want it to be only showing me half of the block. I want it to show the whole block. So what I would do is I click here at this point. After I press on set origin, I click on this point and it will change pattern. Look carefully. Here we go. Now I have the complete block here, but here the first row is just only half of it. So this is something also to do with construction. If the client, for example, would like to change the pattern and didn't like to start a complete block from the left corner, then this is another way to show a different arrangement of blocks. So I think I covered everything, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. Thank you for watching.